So we are starting up with our first session, which will be delivered by Deepali Sadvarte. She's a practicing company secretary with 8+ years of experience, and she is renowned POSH consultant, and she has expertise in company and LLP formation. Also, she is having a consultation experience for trademark and copyright registration. Okay, so I request Deepali to proceed with her first session, and I look forward to have exciting and insightful session on POSH.
Good morning, and thank you for such wonderful introduction. I know you all are from very technical background, project managers, and also POSH. To start with, how many of you have heard about POSH, Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace? Oh, so mine is a easy task, I think. Okay. We will try to make this session interactive. I don't want it to be a monotonous session. I know it's a law. The language is pretty technical, but still we'll try to make it as interactive as possible. My first question to all of you would be, we all know that sexual harassment is not at all a good thing. It's not a good behavior. But still, why you think still it is so rampant in organizations? Why it is still so much prevalent today? I mean, it was earlier also, but हम सबको पता है कि it's not a good behavior. Still, why there are cases of sexual harassment on a rise? Every day you see the newspaper and there would be one or the other case of sexual harassment. So आपको क्यों what could be the reason? Any and please feel free to talk. Yeah.
I think earlier also the harassment used to happen. It never used to get reported and the awareness was not so much. People used to just, oh, that happens.
चलता है attitude.
So nowadays the awareness has been brought in last few decades, and I think that is the reason that it get more reported cases. The core reason is human behavior. There is no any other way to say it.
Absolutely true. Any other? Okay. So as you rightly said, see, it is all about the mindset, our culture, our upbringing, our core values. मैं कुछ आज आपको बहुत नया नहीं बताने वाली हूँ. Technical, okay, I will cover it's a law, I will cover the technical definitions, aspects and everything, but ये सब हमको पता है कि sexual harassment के reasons और जो भी, जैसे हमारी family values, we see how our mothers or maybe the females are treated in our home or maybe our friends in our society, which we are seeing. Right from childhood, if there is a disparity, there is a disparity between a girl child and a male child. In many houses, we have seen this. Male child को ज़्यादा importance दिया जाता है rather than female child. I know the scenario is changing, but still it is prevalent. So somewhere, and as we come to the organization, it doesn't happen that, for example, Deepali is someone who is at home, she is behaving, she is a different person, and at the workplace, different Deepali is coming. We carry our set of values at the workplace also. So that is why this is the main reason that if we could work on the root cause, then probably I would say it would be a very safe place to work as regards women are concerned. But having said that, POSH Act men perceive it as it's an act against men. No, it's not an act against men. It's just that in India, the percentage of women working was very less compared to now. It was very less earlier. So women were they were more vulnerable at workplace, and that is why after Nirbhaya case, this particular act was passed so as to give a safe and a secure working environment for women at the workplace. But you can definitely ask your organization to go for a gender neutral policy wherein all genders are covered, and even a man who is sexually assaulted, he can go and file a complaint. Fine? Yes, next. So the mandate says that all workplaces in India, right from Kashmir till Kanyakumari, they are mandated by this law to provide a safe and secure working environment which is free from sexual harassment for all women. Next. So the genesis, the Rupal Bajaj case is the first case. Rupal Bajaj was the first lady who filed a case of sexual harassment. So we will see the genesis of this particular act. I want you to play the video. Yeah. You see, there were two aspects which the lady was saying, that the entire focus was on me rather than Mr. Gill, and as if I have done something wrong. Everyone was looking at me from this perspective that some wrong misconduct is being done by me, or I should be guilty of filing the complaint. So here, so see, 18 years the lady fought, and at that too at such a senior level. So my request would be to all of you, I mean both the men and the women, don't feel that it's a very trivial issue. If you are facing any sort of harassment, please go and report it to your whatever your IC. I will speak about it. There is a IC committee, that is internal complaints committee at every organization. Speak with your HR, see that you have a code of conduct policy, okay, service rules. So don't keep that in mind, the chalta hai attitude, and try to ignore it. It never goes away by ignoring. If you feel that मैं ignore कर देता हूँ, एक बार करेगा, दो बार करेगा, तीन बार करेगा, no. Try to, okay, you can just give a warning once, but if it doesn't stop there, please don't hesitate to file a complaint, right? To raise the issue at least. Next. So actually in 1992, this is basically the main case, Bhavri Devi case, which led to passing of Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act 2013. So what happened, Bhavri Devi was appointed as a Sathin in the state of Rajasthan. She was working as a rural agent to stop the practice of child marriage. So what happened one day, a child marriage was taking place in a upper class community, and she, with the help of police that night, went to that home where the marriage was taking place, and she tried to stop that marriage. Now, at that time, during night, she was successful in stopping the marriage. But the next day, what did the Gurjar community people did? First of all, they were so outraged because a woman, first of all, tried to stop the marriage, and secondly, a lower community caste woman did this particular act of stopping of the marriage. So they were so outrageous by this act that the next day they went to the farm where Bhavri Devi was working as a laborer along with her husband, और बहुत मारा पीटा हस्बैंड को, and they all gang raped her, right? Now, at that time, there was no such definition of employer, organization, workplace, and everything. So, Bhavri Devi went to police to file an FIR, but the police didn't register the FIR. Since all these, higher political and these upper caste community people were involved, so they were not ready to file the FIR against those people. Now, Bhavri Devi said, no, I will fight this case no matter what. So, what happened? There is a group of NGOs called Vishakha. Vishakha किसी single individual का नाम नहीं है. There was a group of NGOs, Vishakha, who took up the case of Bhavri Devi and they filed a public interest litigation in the state of Rajasthan versus others. And ultimately, in 1997, Vishakha guidelines came into force. Fine. Now, next year. So, these guidelines were subjected to prevent sexual harassment at workplace. Now, in these guidelines, duties of the employer were defined. Sexual harassment was defined. What preventive steps the employer should take to prevent such incidents of sexual harassment. The mechanism of filing of the complaint. So all these things were defined. But see, there is a difference between law and guidelines. Guidelines were directive principles. And there were many loopholes also. Not many definitions, in-depth definitions were included in the guidelines. And after 2012 Nirbhaya case, now there was such an outrage in the whole country, and also it was now not a necessity, even it was beyond necessity to file some special act for the protection of women and workplace. So in December 2013, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act was passed. We are celebrating 10 years of the act basically. Okay, next. So these are the three key main elements of this act. First of all, prohibition. As an organization, and also it is your colleagues and employees' duty to see that such acts of sexual harassment, first of all, doesn't take place in the organization. So what steps we can take? That in the first instance, ऐसे acts हो ही नहीं organization में. So prohibition, prevention, right? Prevention. And अगर होते भी हैं, if any such case happens in the organization, what is the redressal mechanism? How the complainant will get justice under this act? How to redress and solve a particular case of sexual harassment? So all these are the three main pillars of this act. Next. So many important definitions of terminologies are given under this act, like employer, aggrieved. Who is an employer? Who is an aggrieved? Because see, when Bhavri Devi case happened, no, there was no employer. Employer was not defined. Workplace, farm, where she was working, was not defined. Preventive authorities was not defined. So, and basically it is a very sad truth, but you all have heard about POSH, but actually what acts come under sexual harassment? That you should be able to identify. Not every act comes under sexual harassment. Fine? So the term sexual harassment was defined under this act. Next. So who is an employee? Employee, now they have, see, basically this act works on the principle of natural justice. And that is why the main aim of this act is to provide justice, and any particular case of sexual harassment should not go unnoticed because of certain loopholes in the definition. And that is why they have widened the scope of this act. How? By defining employee. Now, it's not just about permanent employees. Contractual employees are covered. Apprentices are covered. Interns are covered. Even if you are visiting any organization to give an interview, as a visitor you will be covered if any case of harassment takes place in the organization which you are visiting. So the scope is very widened now. Next. Now, workplace. What is a workplace? So workplace will cover your organization where you are working, any government offices, hospitals, stadiums, railway stations, airports, your dwelling place. In fact, I want to tell you this, that all maids which are coming at your home, for them, your home is a workplace. Or if you, during COVID era, when you were working from home, home is a workplace. There were several cases of sexual harassment which took place during COVID area. So it was like, how can this happen? No, I mean, we were not actually going to office. No, I will tell you some examples. So there were several cases of sexual harassment while working from home. So home is also will be considered as a workplace. Hospitals and everything. Next. Now, very nice feature of this act. Time to time, the act gets amended because of certain High Court judgments, Supreme Court judgments, and all cases comes up. So they have extended they have introduced the concept of extended workplace. Now, what is extended workplace? So it is any place which is visited by the employee, which is arising out of or during the course of his employment, including any transportation provided by the employer. So, for example, if your organization is giving you a cab facility, bus facility, and in case any incident takes place during that transportation, you can definitely file a complaint of sexual harassment. For example, a team of 5 people of your organization are asked to attend a conference, say in Bangalore, and you 5 all have gone to Bangalore and you have stayed there at a hotel place, and in case in that hotel place anything happens, any case of harassment takes place, that hotel will also be considered as an extended workplace. So the scope is very much wide. Next. Even I have stated men can also file a complaint, but it is only a thing that unfortunately till now POSH Act basically was passed for the protection of women. So definitely you can make your policy gender neutral, the men can also file a complaint, but redressal rights are not given to the IC committee. You need to have any women who is directly working in the capacity of permanent employee, temporary employee, or she may be on a daily wage worker. Even if you are giving services to any NGO or whatever, any organization on an honorarium basis, you're not getting something in monetary return, still you will be considered as an aggrieved woman. Then further a co-worker, contract worker, probationer, trainee, apprentice. So all categories of women are covered under aggrieved women. Next. Please, this video or not. Next slide. Next. Yeah. So basically, this was a visual representation which I wanted to show. We'll cover it in. I'll need some more time. Sorry. So what is sexual harassment? So sexual harassment is a demand or a request for sexual favors, maybe directly or indirectly. Then you're showing pornography. it is unwelcome. See, the main content is it is making you uncomfortable and it is unwelcome in nature. Then it might be a case of plain harassment. You can file it if it is making you unwelcome and it is making you uncomfortable. Fine. But yes, to be to have it as a case of to stand the case of sexual harassment on the grounds of sexual harassment, it should have a sexual connotation to it. The particular behavior should have a sexual connotation to it. Then maybe it can be of verbal nature or non-verbal nature. Then you are asking for physical contact advances. You are stalking a person. Repeatedly, you are asking, will you come for a coffee date? If after once she has said no, and repeatedly if the incident is happening, definitely you can file a case of sexual harassment. So one of the main important aspects here is repetitiveness of the incident. If after one particular warning the other person has stopped, it will not come. He has apologized, it will not come. Fine. So repetitiveness is one of the important aspects. Next, making sexually colored remarks about a person's body parts. There was a case where a lady went on a maternity leave, and when she joined back the organization, so in fact she has lost the weight. So everyone was complimenting her that you're looking so beautiful and all, you have lost weight. But her manager, so what he said, oh Priya, you're looking so beautiful, I'm glad you have lost the weight, but I'm happy that you have not lost the weight where you should have been. So these double meaning words, right? These all comes because it makes you uncomfortable, it makes you, and it has a sexual connotation to it. It is unwelcome. Fine. Next. We have seen the causes. I have started with my presentation that why. So, because of our culture, our value system, the status and the power relationship which men and women still holds in the society. Because under Companies Act 2013, so they have to make this provision mandatory that certain one-third position of independent directors would be given to the women. Women will comprise of independent directorship on the board of directors. So these steps compulsorily needs to be taken because suo moto no organization is taking it, right? And the way we are brought up, basically. Next. So the first step is to recognize what comes under sexual harassment and what doesn't. Workplace sexual harassment is a behavior that is unwelcome. See, we are talking here about workplace. आपके घर में अगर कुछ harassment हो रहा है वो domestic violence में के अंदर आएगा, right? It will not come under. So you have to focus here on the workplace. Fine. So it is unwelcome in nature. Then it is sexual in nature. As I said, for example, a male guy compliments his friend that, oh, this blue dress is looking so beautiful on you. It is not sexual in nature. So it will not come under sexual harassment. But if see how if the sentence changes like this, your figure or your particular assets are looking hot, you're looking hot in this particular blue dress. Immediately the context changes, right? It's a subjective experience. For example, I have two friends and one is complimenting me for my dress, beauty and कितनी hot लग रही है तू, बहुत ही beautiful लग रही है. I might not take it as a, offense or maybe it is not unwelcome for me. But one of the lady who is standing beside me, my friend, if similar compliment is given to her, and if that is making her uncomfortable, she definitely can take up the case of sexual harassment. So it is subjective in nature. It will depend upon individual to individual, right? And impact and not the impact and not the intent what matters. Very important while handling the cases of sexual harassment. We have seen many cases where the perpetrator said, मैडम मेरा इंटेंशन बिल्कुल ये था ही नहीं, मैंने तो इस इंटेंशन से बोला ही नहीं. There was one case where the male colleague used to continuously stare a woman's chest, okay, continuously stare, and she filed a case of sexual harassment. And when he was called before us for interrogation, so what he said ki no, I mean, my intention was not at all to sexually harass her. But while investigating the case, we need to look after all the factors. I mean, is there some problem with your vision? Why are you only looking at the chest and all? So he was like, "Nahi, chest case. I mean, I don't have any problem with the vision, but it's just that I don't feel confident having eye-to-eye contact." So one of our IC members she was so rude and okay, so you have a problem while having an eye contact, no? So look at the feet. Look at the feet of the female if you have a problem with the eye. So then the case was settled and everything, but that is the thing. So here the impact matters. How your behavior has made the other person feel. Fine? Next. And it often occurs in a matrix of power. Generally, 99% cases of sexual harassment occurs in a matrix of power where there is a manager or a subordinate involved, because there is a fear of retaliation, losing of job, losing of career opportunities and all. Next. So verbal. Now these are some of the examples of behavior which constitute sexual harassment at workplace. Verbal. Now under verbal, whistling will come. Then you are commenting on someone's specific body parts. Can I get extended 5-10 minutes because there was okay. Then you're telling sexual connotation jokes. Office का WhatsApp group है और WhatsApp ग्रुप पे आप ऐसे जोक्स भेज रहे हैं जो बहुत ही अनकंफर्टेबल है, पॉर्न के कुछ वीडियो क्लिप्स MMS भेज रहे हैं जो, and you're writing, there was a case, and you're writing ki, oh, female colleagues, please don't mind and please ignore it. तो ऐसा नहीं होता है, right? If your WhatsApp, whatever chats is making the female colleagues uncomfortable, definitely it will come under sexual harassment. Next. For the other sexual connotation comments you are putting up there on social media, right? Then you are showing, pictures, posters, MMS, WhatsApp, emails. Next. I will skip this. I think we don't have the time. Next. Types of sexual harassment. There are two main types of sexual harassment. One is quid pro quo and one is hostile environment. So, next. So, what is quid pro quo? It is a Latin word which means this for that, exact. Iske badle ye. And that it often occurs in a matrix of power. For example, there was a student of mass communication and journalism. She filed a case against the head of the department of so-and-so university. Now, the head of the department kept on declining to accept the research work by the student, persistently under one or the other pretext. On inquiring the reasons and suggestion for corrective action, the head of the department tried to sexually harass her in exchange of offering to accept and grade her research work with excellent grades. So in organizations also, you give me this, I'll give you promotion. You give me this, I'll make you a transfer, right? So this for that. Next. Hostile work environment. See, hostile work environment is you are creating an environment wherein the person is feeling uncomfortable. Though you are not a direct party to it, but the environment gets created in such a way that you're not feeling like working there. It is making you so uncomfortable. For example, an IT intern, she filed a case with the IC committee of the MNC, stating that she feels uncomfortable working with the project team she is allocated. The project workload and stringent timelines necessitated to work beyond office hours, and she was left alone with her male colleagues who played derogatory film songs with sexual connotations. She mentioned that she had brought it to their notice that such behavior is making her uncomfortable and she is unable to concentrate on work. But they made fun of her, calling Auntie Ji, Dadi Ma, and all, citing that her thought process was old fashioned. So you can see that they are not directly saying verbally something to her, but the songs which they are playing, that is really making her uncomfortable to work. So it is creating a hostile work environment. Next. Who is an employer? Who is an employer? Employer is any head of the department, the organization where you're working, the MD, the CEO, right? The team in which you're working, the team leader. So all these people would be covered under the definition of employer. Next. Now, what are the responsibilities of these the aforementioned authorities? See, in each district, there is a district officer. So, this is for those organizations having less than 10 employees. Where there are 10 and more than 10 employees, you need to have an internal complaints committee wherein you can file the cases of sexual harassment. But if there are less than 10 employees, then at each district level, you have a local complaints committee. So there you can file your case of sexual harassment. Also, Medha Gandhi madam has started an initiative called She Box. It's an online portal, She Box. On the She Box, directly you can file a complaint of sexual harassment and it will get redressed. But preferably, if your organization is having an IC, it would be better to approach the IC only. Next. So we have seen key elements: unwelcome, sexual in nature, subjective, and impact matters and not the intent. Next. See, mental harassment will not be considered as sexual harassment, right? So if your employer is asking you to come to place on work, in case you are remaining absent, you have given the notice, but maybe your period of absenteeism is increasing, and if he's continuously following up, he's calling you, mailing you, you can't come and say that, oh, this is a case or he's sexually harassing me. No, it is his management right. He's exercising his management right, so it will not come under sexual harassment. Then maybe you are required, there is a project, you are required to meet the deadlines, you are required to stay for longer hours. Okay, so all this will not come under sexual harassment. So basic difference is the particular act is unwelcome, right? It is making you uncomfortable, and as we have seen, it should have the sexual connotation to it. Otherwise, all these comes under mental harassment, not sexual harassment. Next. Very important for all of you to know that you see to it that your organization is having an internal complaints committee. This committee looks after the cases of sexual harassment. There is a presiding officer who is the head of the internal complaints committee, and along with the presiding officer, there are 4 to 5 members of the IC committee for looking after the cases of sexual harassment, and also there is one external member. Next. So, what is the complaint process? Very, very important, proper complaint has to be in writing. आप verbal complaint नहीं दे सकते. Mail में दीजिए, writing में दीजिए, but verbally complaints are not allowed. They are not entertained. It has to be in writing. Should have details of specific incidents. हमें राम कहानी पूरी नहीं सुनानी है, pointers के साथ specifically उस incident को define करना है. When did it happen? Where did it happen? At what time? Date? Place? Witnesses? Any witnesses? Supporting documents? Right? Should exactly state. I've mentioned all these details. It shouldn't have general allegations. Right? General allegations नहीं करना है. बहुत specifically you have to mention this happened. The incident has to be narrated in a very, very specific manner. Right? And in case you have a supporting documents like where the incident took place, there was a CCTV footage or your friend was there. So mention all those details. Next. Please remember, complaint has to be given by the aggrieved person only. आपके भी 3 months of happening of the incident you have to give the complaint. आज incident होता है और मैं 6 महीने बाद जाती हूँ और मुझे लगता है आज मैं जाके बताऊँ, तो ऐसा नहीं. It's not entertained. You have to give the complaint within 3 months of happening of the incident. And in case there was a series of incident from the last incident, 3 months. And in some special cases, these 3 months are extended to another 3 months, so total you get a period of 6 months. IC, it is the responsibility of the IC to see that the complaint is received and proper redressal is given. The proper redressal mechanism is followed. Next. Sexual harassment. Anonymous complaints by third parties are not entertained. Maximum आप इतना बोल सकते हो कि in this particular finance department, I feel there is something happening, some case of sexual harassment is happening, which is not good. And the lady is not in a position to directly come and complain. So I am just informing you. If you can look it into the matter, right? Next. Now, these are the compliances under POSH Act. Please see that your organization conducts awareness sessions for the employees. IC committee is there. There are specific trainings, special trainings for the IC committee. There are more technical based trainings, timelines are mentioned and everything. See that the IC committee details are displayed in your organization along with their telephone numbers, their names, their email IDs. So whenever a case happens, so that person should not development each calendar year. In your organization, you have to file this report with the Ministry of Women and Child Development. IC must solve the case within 90 days period. And that is why, if you see, it is the prerogative of the complainant. If she feels she can go for, IC is being given the powers of a civil court. And if she wants, she can file a police FIR and she can also go for criminal proceedings. It is her prerogative. But yes,
a chai break. So with this, we would like to end the session. Thank you very much, Dipali. A big round of applause. Thank you.
Engaging, insightful and informative session. Thanks.